Ready for it.
Thrilled for it.
Presenting Franks with Turbo Booster Jet Engine.
Punjab Kings are close to the playoffs for the first time in over a decade. They restart their push for a top four finish in Jaipur against Rajasthan Royals on Sunday. Build up to the game on Nexa presents ESPN Cricinfo Timeout in the company of Tom Moody and Piyush Chawla. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. Welcome back. Punjab waiting on some Australians to arrive back. We have our Aussie man back here. Stoinis and Inglis not back for the first game for sure. They did feature in their last outing. Who do you see Punjab replacing them with?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I think a few teams are going to be in this position where they're having to fill a few gaps with players coming and going. But Marco Jansen has come back. I believe he's not going to be available for finals if Punjab do eventually get there, which we're assuming is going to be the case. So he's a lock. Omar Zia, I would think, would be in there as well. You would think he'd be in there. And Bartlett, Xavier Bartlett, I think will get a chance as another frontline pacer. And then Mitch Owen, who's a bit of an unknown in the IPL, made his name in this year's Big Bash in Australia for the Hobart Hurricanes. I'd imagine he'll feature probably out of position because he's ideally a top order player. He'll probably fit down as a finisher down at 6 or 7.
All right. One thing that works well for Punjab is that, unlike a lot of the other teams, they haven't really relied a lot on overseas players. With the exception of Janssen, there's no standout overseas contributor.
And I think that's a really big positive for them because if few of the players won't be available if they make it to the playoffs, and then coming back from there, like you're saying, Stoinis is not there, Inglis is not there. So the Indian core is doing really well. If you see top of the order in bowling department, Ashdeep is doing the job for them. Then Yuzvendra Chahal has done well in patches. So they have quite a few options there. Shashank has played some crucial cameos. So whatever commodity they have available at the moment, they can use them pretty well, as Tom mentioned as well. Like Bartlett, whatever chances he has got, he has done decently for them. And Omar Zia, he's a quality player as well. So they have all the bases covered, and that's why this team is looking dangerous this year.
Yeah, what I'm looking forward to, though, is if it happens, is that how do they respond if they do lose early wickets? It's inevitable, it's going to happen at some stage. Hasn't happened to this point, but how do they respond if they're suddenly 3 down in the power play?
That's a place where they would have thought the likes of Inglis and Stoinis become more valuable. So something they could miss if that situation is activated in this contest?
Well, you're asking players that really haven't had the time in the middle to step up under pressure, which is always difficult. That's whether you are an introduced player, like a Mitch Owen, for instance, or a player that's been in the squad but hasn't really had the exposure in the middle. That's always difficult coming from, the training track to suddenly under pressure in a match to deliver.
All right. The other interesting factor for Punjab Kings for the remainder of the league stage is that they have a permanent base. 3 games left. This is, of course, an away game against Rajasthan Royals, but they will stay put in Jaipur for their last 2 games as well, which could be huge games against Mumbai Indians and Delhi Capitals. And the Savai Mansingh Stadium has been unusually high-scoring this season. That fits well for Punjab the way they've been going.
And they are dependent mostly on their batting because they're batting heavy team and they want to score big runs. They always, unlike other teams that win the toss, they bat first and they always want to put big runs on the board. So that will really suit their strength. And as Tom also mentioned, what if they lose 3 wickets early and then who will take that responsibility? Because the experience of Stoinis is missing at the moment and we don't know whether he'll be back or not. As we are hearing from outside that he might be back after the first game.
Yeah.
But if he is not, then who will take that responsibility? Shashank has played those cameos, but playing the cameos and building the innings and getting those big runs, it's a huge difference.
In this reworked end of league stage where teams have to recalibrate, be it for resources or for venues, it helps Punjab that they get a stable base for the rest of the league phase.
I think it does to a certain extent. Their record in Jaipur is not great historically, so that's probably a little ghost in the background they're very mindful of. So have they got the team and can they build an 11 that's suited to the conditions there? Yes, it is a batting-friendly surface there this season, but as PC knows, there's a certain way you need to bowl at that venue as well. You need to bowl dead straight on top of the stumps, and that's both pace and spin. So if you're the batter missing, you're the bowler that's hitting every single time. So I'm sure they've had those discussions around strategy, how they best approach it, what lines, what links they need to bowl. But certainly having the continuity of being in one hotel, the same room where you can hang your shirts up, you know what it's like from a playing perspective, you can switch off and relax and be in place for your bid to play finals.
It also means a possibly greater role for spin, at least compared to what we saw in Dharamshala. Someone like Yuzvendra Chahal has bowled a lot at Jaipur.
Well, he is an experienced campaigner, but this season, if you see, Yuzvendra Chahal bowled well in patches. It's not that Yuzvendra is contributing in every game, but this particular surface has been really good for batting, but the dimensions of the ground, that really plays a big role, and he knows how to, get those dimensions into the play, and if he can bowl to those strengths, that will be really helpful for him and for Punjab as well.
All right, let's turn our attention to Rajasthan Royals. It's been a largely forgettable campaign for them, but one of their 3 wins came in the reverse fixture in Mulanpur. Jofra Archer was the star in that game. It was one of his best performances of the season. They won't have him again for these last 2 games. How do you see RR? Which way should they be looking at?
It's a really difficult one for Rajasthan because, again, they've had a season which is quite confusing. You know, it's very hard to really pinpoint what their brand of cricket is because it just seems to be a moving feast and they do unpredictable things, and that's whether with the impact sub or whether that's being with their bowling combinations. There's no real sort of pattern to the way they go about their business. So maybe, given that they're out of this tournament, this is an opportunity for them to find what brand they need to be playing, and that's where they're a threat. So any team that's facing something like Rajasthan, they're a threat because they've got nothing to lose. They're just going to go out there and play a particular style that Rahul Dravid, the coach, has, put in place, and look out for those teams that are coming across them.
They do have a fair few younger options or untested options, especially if we consider Archer's replacement. There's a Quena Mapaka, who we haven't seen this season. Considering looking ahead at the next season, does that become a player you probably want to try out for a couple of games?
Well, he'll get a couple of games, but that will be a very small sample size. But you get the fair bit of idea that how you can go with him, and he's young, he bowls quick, and he's somebody you can really invest on and look for him to play for, give you services for next maybe 4, 5, 6 years. So you have those cricketers available who can come and fill in those shoes, and you can try them for the next year retention.
There's also their captain, at least the man who was supposed to be the permanent captain, Sanju Samson. He is reportedly fit. In his absence, there's a 14-year-old who's taken the opening spot quite well. If Samson is back, what should the batting order look like?
Oh, I knew you were going to throw that curly one at me. Samson obviously walks straight back into that side. I'd imagine he'd come in at 3. That would make sense to me, and keep the stability at the top because, again, they're out of this tournament. It's a good chance for all their young players to get that further experience and exposure out in the middle. So why wouldn't you run with them?
All right.
And Nitish Rana is also not available now.
Yeah.
So that would be the proper spot for Sanju Samson, that they continue with Yashasvi and Suryavanshi, and then Sanju comes at number 3, and he has played at that number many times earlier also. So it's not something very new for him.
All right. Anyone backing RR to win a game in Jaipur before signing off?
Well, T20 is a kind of format on a particular given day. A one batter and a one spell can change the whole course of the game. We have seen that what Vaibhav Suryavanshi has done against GT, one of the strongest side of the tournament, who is sitting at the top of the table. So, looking at the current situation, Tom also mentioned they have nothing to lose. They'll play with the free mind. So, these teams can actually spoil somebody's party.
They can, but will they?
In my view, no, but they'll get someone on the way out.
Yeah, this will be their last chance to hurt someone who's still in the tournament because their last game after this is against Chennai Super Kings. Tom, PC, thank you so much for setting up the game for us. Punjab Kings have only ever won once in 6 outings in Jaipur. They want to change that as they inch closer to the playoffs.
Ready for it.
Thrilled for it.
Presenting Franks with Turbo Booster Jet Engine.
Nexa.